Hi, I'm Seane, and I remember in 1984 when Geraldine Ferrara was running for vice president. This is the first year I can vote, and I couldn't wait to cast that first vote. It was Geraldine was not only the first woman running for office, she was the first Italian-American, and there was so much about that was so interesting to me, watching her in her little suits, and she was a real broad, and I wanted her to win so badly. I didn't even care about Walter Mondale so much, but I just wanted her to be a voice. I had no understanding of politics. I couldn't tell you what they stood for, even politically, but I knew that I wanted someone who can speak a language that I was at least familiar with, making decisions on my behalf. And it was one of the most proud days when I went and cast that ballot. Unfortunately, they lost, horrifyingly, I think. And, but it gave me great hope at that time, knowing that one day maybe it was going to be possible that there were going to be women who were going to be holding office on a really strong and profound level. And I wanted so badly to see that happen, yet over the years, when I would see women run for office, they would wear the power suits, and they would have the power voice, and they would adopt the rhetoric of the male politicians, and I could no longer identify with these women. They seemed to be taking on the persona of these men, and I felt more and more not only alienated, but really alone in this process of thinking, will there ever be anyone who can speak their truth from their heart and always allow love to be the thing that guides their politics above anything else? Getting involved with yoga helped me personally tap into a conversation with myself that allowed me the process of beginning to find my own voice and speak my own truth and take responsibility for the places where I disengage with my own femininity. And I became a little bit more compassionate. I understood why it was so hard for women running for office to engage in their femininity when it's not supported, it's not celebrated, and we as women are not often very comfortable with it. That's why when Marianne Williamson reached out to me and told me about Sister Giant and the effort that she was putting together in collaboration with many other brilliant and wonderful men and women to educate and empower and inspire women to run for office or to get involved politically, but not from the typical paradigm of the male politician, but to bring in all that is feminine: receptivity, being, connectivity, love, truth-telling, listening, sustainability, all the qualities that we as yogis have worked so hard on to improve our own health, wellness, and relationships with ourselves and God. You can only imagine how incredibly excited I was to know that there would be actual programming that could help support us to find our voice and engage in a political conversation that doesn't disconnect us from our own values, or where we have to apologize for the spiritual motivation that inspires the whole of our life, that one doesn't have to live separate from the other. There's been a really interesting pushback in the yoga community that there is no intersection between yoga and politics, and I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that I understand that this is a really challenging conversation, but as we all know from the practice of yoga, any change that is worth having takes some time and effort, where we have to stand in the uncomfortableness for awareness to occur and a new conversation to evolve. Anything that affects our nation's citizen or our global family, whether it has to do with the environment or healthcare or education or the foods that we eat, anything that impacts us is yoga. The way we stand in the presence of all conflict is yoga. Can we breathe? Can we stay mindful? Can we understand that there's a bigger picture at play, that it's not about the individual, but it's about the collective? And if anything is happening that's dividing or creating separation, then we as a community have to go towards, not away. Otherwise, we're supporting the sense of otherness, and that is the crux of all the division that's been happening. War and violence and oppression and the abuse that we've been putting upon Mother Earth herself, it's all happening because there's a sense of an us and a them. Yoga doesn't believe that this is true. Yoga believes that everything is connected, that we are one. So how dare we not get involved in politics? How dare we not lovingly be a voice? How dare we continue to apologize for our own interests if those interests impact the whole? Not only do we have a right, we have an obligation and a privilege to use our voice in such a way to create change. My hope is that if you've felt scared, insecure, doubtful, don't feel that you have the information or the education, I want to invite you to go to Sister Giant and be a part of this conversation. Learn the skills that perhaps can help you feel more confident to be a part of the conversation about this intersection of what it means to be a woman in the world today and the impact that we can have on policy and on the political arena. Sister Giant is going to create a forum where we can talk about our feelings, where we can explore the shadow aspect of stepping into power, where we can actually learn from people who are already doing this work on some of the issues that exist and get educated upon those issues so we can feel more empowered and more confident as we go out into the world. I'm very excited about this. This seems like a now what, and it's a now what that's inevitable, that creates space for possibility and hope, that supports engagement, and that empowers us not just as women, but as citizens to recognize that we have an obligation and a responsibility to embrace when others would perhaps reject, reach when others would withdraw, and do what needs to be done in order to facilitate change. And whatever is getting in our way from believing in our own power, we must find the support that's out there, find the other leaders who are already doing the work, who are already paving the way, and use them so that we can find out the information and inform ourselves to do what needs to be done so that we as a global family can commit and can connect and can create change from a place of love and not fear. Sister Giant is going to be in Los Angeles the weekend of November 10th and 11th. My hope is that you will come out and listen to Marianne speak, visit all the other breakout groups who are going to be speaking about a variety of different challenges and opportunities that exist within the political arena, and perhaps maybe for those of you who've been thinking about the possibility for running for office, maybe this will be the thing that'll just light that fire underneath you just a little bit more. And for others of you who have no interest whatsoever running for politics, but have other skills perhaps, like leading a campaign or organizing efforts in your own local community, or being able to help support other women who perhaps want to run for office in other ways, my hope is that you'll come to Sister Giant and find that you have quite a strong sisterhood that wants to support you in your own ideals. And I'm very excited not only for this project, but the ways in which this may unfold in the future. Namaste.